Okay, well, welcome to the May Web Council. I'm Jeff Hendrickson, Web Content Manager in University Marketing and Communications. Got a great lineup for you today. We've got Thom Thorpe, who's going to get us started here with the word on the street. And then we'll follow up with Ann Nagel from the Privacy Office. She's going to give us some updates there. And then Peter Giles will round out the meeting with a security short. So Thom, I'll turn it over to you and you can get us started with word on the street.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Good February morning, everybody. I'm really having a very hard time believing this is May, but on the bright side, I now have waterfront property. So upshot to everything, right? I'm going to go ahead and do the Zoom fumble here while I figure out how to share my screen for the 737th time. So as we begin, I want to use the university's land acknowledgement to acknowledge the Coast Salish people of this land, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. I also acknowledge and honor the tribal nations across Washington state and the many indigenous people from across the country who live and work in Seattle and the surrounding areas. As Jeff said, we've got a great agenda today. I'm really looking forward to Ann's presentation and to hearing the news bites from CISO. Before we get to that, though, we'll run through our usual gamut of goodness, starting off with our good friends at the Drupal Community of Practice. They're going to be meeting at 10 a.m. today, and they're going to be doing a brainstorming for upcoming meeting topics. Using last year's list and shamelessly stolen ideas from the Drupal users group in Seattle. I love anytime anything is shamelessly stolen. Our friends at WordPress may be meeting at 10 a.m. today. There's a link there, and I'll be sure to get all these Zoom links in chat just after the presentation. Front End Technologies is meeting May 17th at 3 p.m. and they're going to be moving on to chapter 4 in the Eloquent JavaScript series. And they're going to be looking at data structures, objects, and arrays. And so you'll want to follow them to get that Zoom link, which will be coming out closer to the meeting. UX and design thinking, couldn't find the next meeting date, but I do want to encourage folks to join their community on Microsoft Teams. There's a little code there. When you search for UX and design thinking, you'll find their community and then it'll ask you to input that code. Great conversations going on over there, great community to be a part of. And of course, our monthly accessibility and usability meetup with our friend Hadi, second Thursdays at 10 a.m. And there's the Zoom link there if you are interested in joining. Today at 11, we'll be hosting office hours, which is a great chance for you to come by and talk with anyone on UMAC's web team. Answers to your burning web questions today at 11. Informal, just drop in, ask away, and we're happy to help. Jobs. There are tons of great web jobs all around the UW. As a reminder, go to uw.edu/jobs, click search for jobs, and there'll be a search box for a requisition number. That's that 6-digit number you see at the end of each of these. Feel free to post these to your network, share with your friends. If you are interested yourself, there are many, many great opportunities all around the UW. Lots of new things being added. So there's lots of great new opportunities coming up. So just a great opportunity to work at a great institution. I should have really stretched that a little bit further. I did not realize how many jobs there were. Don't worry if you missed them all. We're posting this to the wiki and you'll be able to download a copy of this, well, even now. So some Seattle area meetups. IXDA is hosting Movie Club, where they're going to be watching Design and Thinking, a documentary, and discussing it after. That'll be on Wednesday, May 11th at 5:30, and there's the meetup site for that if you are interested. Seattle JS is having their monthly meetup also Wednesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. The OWASP Seattle chapter is hosting their security social lunch hour May 11th at 12 p.m. I'm noticing a theme here on May 11th. The User Experience Professional Association Puget Sound chapter is hosting a really interesting talk around the squawk method for giving and gathering feedback. That'll be May 18th, so finally something on a different day at 6 p.m. I will put a plug in for Julie Jensen's book and her work on the squawk method. It is a really interesting way to get and give feedback. So if you're interested in that, great opportunity to learn a little bit more. And I'm just going to put in my general plug for our 3 most visited users groups around the area: Seattle Drupal, Seattle JS, and the WordPress developer meetups. All those groups have different events all throughout the month, great opportunities to network with folks outside of the UW, learn a little bit more about what's going on in the area. One thing I wanted to highlight, I am currently working on a list of all of the regional meetups. Folks have asked for this because I tend to pick and choose lots of things over and over again, and folks want to know how I've found all these things. I'm hoping we can get this up maybe mid-summer, and then I'll be able to share that link with you all, and we'll highlight a few key events and then link you all off to that full list of things. It is already starting to become a very lengthy list, so there's a lot of great opportunities for networking beyond the UW. Conferences, I've added a few more to this, a couple last minute additions. The GeekWire Awards are May 12th. The Microsoft Build Conference is going to be the 24th through the 26th. Women in Tech Regatta will be here in Seattle, Vancouver, and in the Netherlands, June 1st through the 11th. And there are tons of hybrid options for that as well. Product Marketing Summit got pushed back and will now be June 15th and 16th here in Seattle. Smashing Conf added 2 new confs, 23rd in San Francisco and 27th and 30th in Austin. We've had some folks from the UW go to these before, and they've always been great events, so I want to make sure we got both of those out to you. MozCon has been confirmed for July 11th through 13th here in Seattle. So if you are a SEO geek like me, it'd be a great opportunity to learn a little bit more. High Ed Web Accessibility Summit will be on the 28th, and that'll be a virtual event. Cascadia JS will be August 30th through September 2nd at Sun River. Digital Summit Seattle, September 7th through 8th here in Seattle. WP Campus, this got pushed back from July to September. We still don't have a firm date on it yet, but we know it's going to be both online and hosted at Tulane University. And so you can get more information by going to the address there. Smashing Conf is also adding a New York version on the 10th through the 13th of October. High Ed Web is still October 9th through 12th, and that'll still be a split hybrid virtual and in Little Rock. And Adobe Max will be the 18th through the 20th. This we do also know will be hybrid as well. However, if you want a good excuse to go to LA, there you go. Seattle Interactive Conference we know is November, but I did not check to see if they announced the dates yet. So hopefully those get announced pretty soon. That's always been a great conference. I know my team's always enjoyed going to that. And then finally, AWS reInvent, November 28th through December 2nd, hybrid as well, online and in Las Vegas. I just continue to make a plug for this, especially the online version. Morgan and I have gone the last couple of years, and it's been great to do the online version. I think just as great as being in person. So good opportunity if you're an AWS shop. And just like the list of meetups, I'm putting together a yearly conference calendar. So hopefully I can give folks a little more than a couple months notice about upcoming events. So we'll do sort of the same thing we'll do for the meetups. We'll highlight a couple of upcoming conferences and then link out to a full list. So I'll keep you all posted on this, probably midsummer for that as well, but just wanted to let you know that's something that we're going to work on pretty soon for you. I've got a couple product updates for everyone. First of all, we're going to start with storytelling modules. More information is, of course, on our GitHub page. We've got some updates to the card modules. We have customized the card title, copy, image, and link. If you want to see a good example of how some of these changes have been implemented, I invite you to check out our latest Dinosaur Dreams story. It's ran on the homepage a little while back. This link, of course, will be in the presentation, which is up on the wiki. There are plenty of thoughts and ideas to expand cards in the works, but we would love to hear your suggestions. So please, if you're using them and you find a good use case, let us know because we'd love to hear from you. Span buttons. So this is a cool new feature. It's a full width section with customizable height and background color and button text. This is really good if you are trying to send someone somewhere else on page, or maybe even off to an external link. And then, of course, we're adding a great new feature, which is, I think, wonderful for testing, which is a hidden option for all modules. So there's now a checkbox that will allow you to hide any module from a published page. Why I think this is really cool is that you can build two different versions of something, turn one off, take a look at, see how it works, and then flip-flop and see how the second version works. So really fun for A/B testing and for just being able to try out different things. The WP theme, UW's WP theme, had a couple of recent updates. Again, more information up there at our GitHub. We've got some new default options for the search. So you can set it so that the default search is for all the UW or the current site. We've got a ton of accessibility improvements and bug fixes, added title tag options to cards and Jumbotron shortcodes. Lots and lots and lots of things coming out there. And for both storytelling modules and the WordPress theme, please take a look at each project's changelog for full details. I'm just showing you what I think is cool and interesting and fun, but the team has been really hard at work. And there's a lot of stuff coming out. The one thing that I will ask, and just double pleases here, test before updating. While we do an awful lot of testing, we are not in your production environment, and we don't have maybe the same exact environment that you do. So please test things before you put them into production, play around with them, make sure they're going to work for your environment. And as you are using our things, please, please, please submit items to our issues queue. We've got a great issues queue going already. You can track progress on the things we've got there, but you can also submit your own issues as you find them. And we are really appreciative to everyone in the community who's been supporting us by showing us all the bugs and issues to work on and getting to those as quickly as we can. And finally, to round out word on the street, our monthly theme for the month of May is population health. So we are looking for stories with the hashtag population health. Just as a reminder, population health does not necessarily mean anything medical. So lots and lots of stories are considered population health. So please get us those stories. We'd love to feature them. A couple of strategic considerations for the month. Of course, the first two have already passed, but they're still important to talk about. 5/1, of course, being that decision deadline for Seattle fall 2022 admissions. 5/3 was the 6th anniversary launch of the Population Health Initiative, and that's a great important milestone for us. And of course, as I think we're probably all looking forward to, on the 30th is our Memorial Day holiday. Certainly am looking forward to a nice 3-day weekend there. So that is it for word on the street. Our next meeting, of course, will be in June. And for some reason, I thought you really needed to see that in capital letters. I don't know why I shouted that one out, but really want you there in June. And so that is all for me. So I will say thank you and turn things back over to Jeff.
Thank you, Tom. Just a note for everybody, I'm going to update the link on the wiki. Apparently it links to an older slide presentation. So I'll get that fixed here in a minute. Okay, next up, we've got Ann Nagel. She's the Associate Vice Provost in the Privacy Office. And so she's going to share with us some updates on privacy related issues. So Ann, invite you to share your screen if and take it from here.
Great. Thank you all for having me today.
A news Bytes segment that'll talk about various security related issues. So Peter, I'll turn it over to you, and you've got the last 15 minutes here to share.
Great. Thank you. I don't think I'll need all of it. We'll see how we do here. If you're not familiar with me or you're not recognizing my voice right now, my name is Peter Giles. I'm a developer and data analyst with the Office of the CISO, and I'm going to be going through some little news items today. But first, by way of explanation for my voice, there was a soccer game last night that was played, and I may have been whooping and hooting like some kind of whooping and hooting jackass, and I have lost most of my voice here, but I'm going to do the best I can going on. Let's see. So the format of this again is news bites, and these are items that are taken from our weekly cyber intelligence report, something that you can subscribe to. See the details at the bottom of the slide for that. But these are items that are curated to be relevant to the community at the UW. And the whole point is to up our situational awareness so that when we run into the unexpected, or maybe we have a better idea of what to expect, we can react appropriately. So, and these items are guaranteed to make you more interesting at your next Zoom happy hour. So there's that. All right, before I dive into the news, I'm going to kind of flip things around and go through a few of the offerings from the CISO's office that we hope you will take advantage of. We have some training resources that are awesome and free, free online trainings, a bunch of topics from Security 101 to working remotely and managing your passwords, things like that. Bunch of risk advisories and best practices, everything from travel tips to managing secrets to what to know about ransomware, and then infographics that you can use to make your break room more secure with information on gift card scams, identity theft, lots of topical items. So, and much more. Also, you can become a security advocate. We have a community of practice for people interested in cybersecurity and promoting that culture at UW. Work with the Office of the CISO to help us promote awareness and good practices around security and build relationships with like-minded folks. So if you're interested in that, you can email CISO at UW with advocates in the subject line. And then near and dear to my heart, you can take a secure coding class from our team. Web App Security 101, Thinking Like an Attacker is a fun one. You get hands-on experience on the other side of it, attacking a vulnerable web application to learn about those vulnerabilities. Things like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and web parameter tampering. It's a 3-hour class. It is all online, and of course, that is free as well. So if you're interested in that, contact Pete Graff, pgraff@uw.edu, and let us know, and we will be scheduling the next course soon. So now back to our regularly scheduled programming, into the news bites. First, I'm going to start off with a little threat awareness booster, fishy links and nasty bait. So this was interesting. Checkpoint Security, their research team released their first quarter brand phishing report. And I thought this was pretty fascinating that globally, according to them, 52% of phishing attacks now are impersonating LinkedIn. and that's a big shift. That is a 44% increase from the previous quarter. The next highest is a tiny fraction of that, DHL at 14%. But that is, I think, indicative too that it's social media spoofing, and then like your shipping update spoofing are kind of the top two right now. Let's see. So Emotet is testing a new attack vector. So Emotet is a botnet that starts off with sort of bulk phishing operations, and then owns hosts into their botnet for various purposes. I think it started out as kind of a banking Trojan, if I remember correctly. We have an information page about Emotet on the CISO website. If you're interested, the link is on the slide, and the slide link is on the wiki. Let's see. In this case, the email subject lines were short, usually just one word, and the bodies contained nothing but a single link to this OneDrive file. Now, the payload here that they were linking to is an XLL file. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but those are a type of DLL that are specifically for adding in features to Excel. But the archive that they were pointing to was named salary_new.zip. Very devious there. Who doesn't want to know, what's in there? What's my new salary? What's this about? But when you open the archive and double click on the XLL file, malware is dropped, the host is added to the botnet, and bad things ensue. So this has been sort of at a testing level so far, what's been observed, but this is likely to ramp up. This is sort of trying to prepare you for a coming wave. So something to be aware of. Be cautious of links to cloud file sharing, just as you would with an unexpected attachment in an email. It's the same idea. They may be taking you to a site that for some reason, conveys a greater sense of trust. And that might be part of the ploy there. And be careful with LinkedIn messages, since they're being so widely spoofed now. My suggestion is, instead of clicking on the links in those messages, you can just log in straight to LinkedIn if there's something that piques your curiosity, and you can see if there's something in your inbox, or whatever, a link request directly there. Next, we have a little browser weather report. There's a chance of lightning. It's a good time to update. So not so shiny in the last month for Chrome. Multiple updates released for vulnerabilities that are being actively exploited, including 8 high critically CVEs. Let's see, this is alphabet soup here, but including an RCE. An RCE, of course, is remote code execution. The CVEs are vulnerabilities, but remote code execution is a real baddie that oftentimes can lead to your device being completely taken over. So yeah, two sets of updates in April for pretty bad stuff. So make sure that you're nice and patched there. And then from the Mozilla side of things, not so foxy. in terms of Firefox and Thunderbird for the Boyds this month. Mozilla released security updates, and the worst of the security issues also allows for remote code execution and complete control of the affected device. Not good. That affects Firefox versions less than or equal to 99 and Firefox ESR and Thunderbird less than or equal to 91.8. So regardless of what browser you use, it's important to be attentive and responsive to new updates. When you get that pesky request to restart your browser, don't delay. And our next item, the Sucuri, I'm not sure how to say that, website threat research report was released with some interesting findings. So who is Sucuri and how did they compile this report? They are a company that sells a suite of security products for websites. And they analyzed hacks that they detected or that their security team remediated in 2021, and there were a good sample size here. So I think the findings are interesting and important. So first of all, extensions and plugins account for more compromises than out-of-date core CMS files. And I think that probably goes with our intuition and what we've been sort of preaching for a while here, but half of the detected infections were on up-to-date CMSs. So responding quickly to disclose vulnerabilities in plugins and extensions is key. And then the other sort of top finding was that default configurations are still a serious liability. For example, WordPress defaults they will allow password brute forcing of admin users. There's no multi-factor authentication by default and no limit to login attempts. So that's a recipe for getting your site owned in the vernacular. And they say basically that using a security plugin is a prerequisite now for proper WordPress security. So what's to be done? I recommend putting a repeating event on your calendar to audit your CMS plugins and extensions, maybe once a quarter, but make sure that that's not something that falls off your radar. And WordPress and other CMS instances should be carefully configured to avoid any lax default security settings. So I guess that's kind of an obvious one, but yeah, that reputable security plugins can provide valuable guidance and help you catch hidden issues in configuration and otherwise. Let's see. And next item, we have a Elementor WordPress plugin vulnerability. Swift patching required for a new minor version here. So the Element UG. Elementor is a drag and drop website builder for WordPress. If you're not familiar, it's pretty popular, more than 5 million installations recorded. Now, this vulnerability was introduced in late March, version 3.60. And it's a nasty one. Any authenticated user can make changes to the site through this exploit, including uploading arbitrary files, which once again can lead to remote code execution and site takeover. So there was a 3.6.3 patch that attempted to fix it, but it sounds like 3.6.4 cleaned up something that was remaining there. So that's the version that you want to at least be at. That was released April 13th. And that brings me to the end. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, I will take those now.
Any questions from the audience? We're just about at 10, but can feel free to drop
Oh,
those
I
in the
apologize,
chat.
we're a minute over.
Oh, you're fine. Well, I want to thank all of our presenters. Peter, thank you for the security short, and Nagel for the privacy presentation, and of course, Thom for his word on the street. We have slides posted on our wiki if you want to check out the links for word on the street or the security shorts. And we will see you next month in June. So everybody have a great rest of your May.
Thanks again.